Do you feel unseen or unheard when it comes to your parents and your depression? Oftentimes, depression can feel like you're stuck in a maze with no idea how to get out. And sometimes all you want is for someone to hold your hand and show you the way. Some might hope that person to be a parent, the person who guides and nurtures them, helping them to get out of that dark place. But many teens don't have that kind of support and are instead faced with parents who don't quite understand their depression. They're instead dismissed and ignored, making their situation even worse. It can be frustrating, confusing, and quite lonely for a teenager. These years are a time of so much growth and change, and it can be hard to go through it without the support of your parents. The next few seconds have some Stranger Things spoilers, so if you haven't watched the new season yet, skip ahead. Spoiler alert. In the popular show Stranger Things, Max, one of the main characters, shows signs of depression in the wake of one of the biggest traumas of her life. To make it worse, her mother is not entirely present and doesn't seem to understand or see what Max is going through. It is revealed that all she wants is some motherly reassurance and understanding, but she doesn't have that, which makes her feel even more alone. Many teens have situations parallel to Max's, with parents who don't quite see or understand. So if you're feeling lonely and ignored in your struggles, here are some signs you may relate to if your parents just don't understand your depression or have left you to fight it alone. Number 1, your parents don't let you get professional help. Coming to terms with your depression and realizing that you're in such a dark place takes a lot of strength and courage. What takes even more bravery is admitting that you need help. Have you ever talked to your parents about seeing a therapist or a counselor, but they completely shut down the idea? They may not even listen to you or say you don't need it because you're fine. It can feel depleting and discouraging when your parents deny you of something that you know can make your life better. You may begin to feel out of place and like you don't belong in your own home since they don't understand what you need. It can also be dangerous because you're now left with untreated depression. So down the road, it's more likely to spiral into something more severe that can impact more of your life. Number 2, they start to make jokes about your depression and manipulate your situation. Your parents might have told you before to open up and not be afraid to talk about your struggles. When you do though, you might find that your parents use your depression and problems as a spectacle for entertainment, a source of laughter instead of taking it seriously. They might unfairly bring it up in social situations in a humorous way to humiliate you and make you feel singled out. They might laugh and make a mockery of your depression with others. This shows your parents your situation as a source of fresh gossip and news to intrigue their peers, meaning they don't really take your depression seriously. They're using your real struggles as a way to direct attention onto themselves, somehow making it about them and leaving you to feel isolated and even more unsupported. Number 3, your parents don't make changes in day-to-day life to support you with your depression. Do you live in a family that is constantly go, 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 whether it's different functions you all attend or extracurriculars? Do you find that your family never stops moving? When you have depression, it's important to take a step back and slow down so you have time to heal. And as a teenager, it's important to communicate this to your parents so they can help relax your schedule. That way, they have more time to have meaningful conversation with you and see what you need. That being said, they might not understand the fact that you do need this break and instead continue to go about their daily lives. They may continue to drag and force you into these extra activities and are inflexible when all you really need is a break. When you're depressed, you're vulnerable, and this exhausting, strenuous routine can leave you feeling even more depleted and unfulfilled. Taking breaks from your busy life is important so your body can reset and restore itself. When your parents aren't mindful of this, your busy life can continue to weigh on your shoulders and leave you feeling even more depressed. Number 4, they make excuses for your depression. Have you ever actually reached out to your parents about your situation, only to be met with unrealistic theories as to why you have depression in the first place? It might seem like they're almost in denial, making up different excuses as to why you're feeling a certain way. They might say things like, no, you don't have depression, you'll feel fine in the morning. Or more commonly, your phone is making you sad, so put it away and you'll be happy. You also might be stressing about school and they'll say, we all have our struggles. These are all comments parents make when they don't understand depression. and don't care to further learn what you're going through. They think that your struggles are just an act of drama and attention seeking or a strange teenage phase instead of an actual cry for help. We know that depression is not only directly caused by being on your phone and can be a product of other factors like trauma, chemical imbalances, conflict, stress, neglect, and more. Some parents refuse to open their eyes and look at the bigger picture of their child's struggle and instead stay constricted in the box they've built around them. Number 5, every time your depression is mentioned, they argue with you. Living with depression is exhausting and takes a lot of strength to overcome. So it's even more debilitating when there is added stress from conflict with your parents. When you bring up your depression to your parents, does the conversation somehow blow up into a massive argument and it's now somehow about them? They might even get offended that you brought up such a thing, saying that you're ungrateful for feeling such a way when they've given you a great life. They take the fact that you're feeling depressed as a personal attack against their parenting skills and argue with you about it. Even when you're dealing with the effects of your depression like fatigue, lack of motivation, and headaches, they might miss and not understand the fact that these are signs of depression and settle for the conclusion that you're lazy and bratty. This ignorance of your situation can spur anger in you and then escalate into an argument with your parents. And their lack of understanding can fuel your depression and further wear you down. Some parents may think depression is a choice and that the symptoms are a normal part of a teen's development. For example, they think a moody teenager is just a part of their growth. Due to this, parents may minimize concerning symptoms due to lack of knowledge. Sometimes parents are quick to assume teenagers do not have adult problems. Therefore, they think there are no valid reasons for teens to be depressed. They may be in denial because their image of a healthy child is being shattered, ignoring their child's depression because of feelings that they have failed as a parent. It's also possible that parents may be struggling with their own mental health problems themselves and can't take on their child's depression. Have you been noticing any of these signs with your parents? Do you think they struggle to understand your depression and instead fuel it and make it worse? If they do, try to reach out to another trusted adult or friend, like a school counselor, to get the support you deserve. Hey Psych2Goers, welcome back to another brand new video. Standing on the counter in your bathroom, you eagerly take your well-lit selfie. 30 minutes of scrolling through filters later, you post it to social media. But then, as you wait for the likes to start rolling in, have you ever wondered, what does this say about me? What do any of my posts say about me? Believe it or not, our social media habits can reveal a lot about us. One research study published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin looked at 4 studies that examined the interface between how individuals network their friendships and their attachment styles. Their findings? Our social network behavior is closely connected to our attachment style. Considering our attachment style can influence how we pick our partners, how we develop friendships, and how we end them, it's best to look at our social media habits now, all in an effort to see what it says about our attachment style, and more importantly, what it says about us. Number 1, posting darker photos. NPR's Angus Chen once reported that your social media photos could suggest whether or not you're depressed. Harvard researchers Andrew G. Rees and Christopher M. Danforth wanted to test this theory. Researchers created a computer script that would examine individuals' Instagram posts. The computer script accurately assessed whether individuals were depressed. They discovered that photos posted by depressed individuals were more likely to be bluer, grayer, and darker. They also found humans aren't the best predictors of depression. When it comes to assessing whether a photo is happy or sad, human ratings of photos were found to be weaker predictors of depression and were uncorrelated with computationally generated features. Number 2, deleting photos without likes. Do you post on social media often? Do you obsessively monitor the number of likes of your posts, especially your selfies? Based on a study by Penn State University, your behavior on social networks like Instagram and Facebook can tell us how old you are. A common behavior that teenagers engage in on Instagram is deleting photos that don't get enough likes. Dongwon Lee, an associate professor of the College of Information Sciences and Technology at Penn State University, says teens want to be very popular, so they're very conscious of the likes they're getting. According to the studies, it was also shown that adults generally post photos with diversified topics in mind, while most teens post photos that reflect their current mood. Number 3, over-filtering or enhancing selfies. Posting that highly edited photo of yourself may not only make others believe that's how you truly look, but your self-image of yourself may change drastically as well. A study from researchers at Australia's La Trobe University found that people who share selfies more often were reported to have significantly higher over-evaluation of shape and weight, body dissatisfaction, dietary restraint, and internalization of the thin ideal. Number 4, not using filters on your photos. Okay, let's say you don't use filters in your posts. What does this say about you? In the same study by Harvard researchers Reese and Danforth, they found those who are depressed are less likely to filter their photos. It sort of makes sense because filters usually brighten up and enhance the contrast of the overall photo, which might not reflect the emotional state of the depressed individual. Number 5, harsh comments and gossip. You may think throwing out a single negative comment or two on a post won't matter. I mean, will your followers really see it? Or what about that recent post where you spread a bit of gossip? A lot of people find negative comments and gossip as signs you're secretly an angry person. It shows that you're happy to spread hate about someone online for the world to see forever. Why spread hate after all? Number 6, selfie after selfie. Apparently, according to research, psychopaths tend to post selfie after selfie. Say what? It might just be so. Researchers from Ohio State University found that people who posted many enhanced selfies one after another held a higher score on measures of narcissism and psychopathy. Obviously, not all who post that many selfies are psychopaths, but it could also be an indication that you could have a higher than average level of antisocial traits. Not only that, according to psychologist Sarah Schweitz, PsyD, if you're posting these only me photos on social media, you might give people the impression that you're full of yourself. 7, you notice your online friendships are disappearing. So you can't help but notice your social networks are disappearing in front of you. You're losing followers, you're not getting as many likes. Well, one reason your followers are dwindling down, according to researchers, may be due to attachment anxiety. Researchers hypothesized that those with attachment anxiety may often give off an overwhelming, intrusive, or demanding vibe in their posts. Yeah, that's right, I said vibe. The sad thing is, those who worry about losing their connections and friends are more likely to slowly start to lose a large number of their networks, according to researchers. Some may show they want to control a certain field or hang around their friends more. In response, some people may feel intimidated by these needs and pull away without realizing it. Researchers say those with this anxiety often end up driving away the friends they wanted to make and keep so desperately. 8, following strangers on social media. One study from researchers at Pace University found that following strangers may not always have a positive effect. The researchers state that more frequent Instagram use has negative associations for people who follow more strangers, but positive associations for people who follow fewer strangers with social comparison and depressive symptoms. Number 9, posting workout photos. You should feel great about improving your health and working out at the gym. Exercising often is great in strengthening your muscles, increasing stamina, and improving your overall physical health. But one study found that sharing inspiring images of your workout body may have a negative effect. The study found that people who posted Fitspiration or Fitspo photos scored significantly higher on the drive for thinness, bulimia, the drive for masculinity, and compulsive exercise. They also found that 1/5 of the subjects were at risk for being diagnosed with a clinical eating disorder, as compared to 4.3% of the subject group that opted out of posting workout photos. And 10, lack of interaction. Have you ever heard of Instagram broadcasting? It's a behavior that's been linked to higher levels of loneliness, according to Chia-Chen Yang of the University of Memphis. This behavior is marked by uploading photos without tagging someone or often posting photos or updates that are not directed to people in your life. Interacting and socializing with others on social media is correlated with being less lonely, but if you're not socializing with others on social media often, you may feel a bit more lonely in the long run. As long as you don't get attachment anxiety, feel free to get out there and start commenting and reaching out to the friends you wish to keep close. It is called social media after all. So what social media habits do you possess? What do they say about you? Share with us in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to click the like button and share this video on social media. What will it say about you? Probably that you're a Psych2Goer who's highly valued by the community and knows quite a few things about the world of psychology. Subscribe to Psych2Go and hit the notification bell icon for more content like this. And as always, thanks for watching. Kissing is something that carries a surprising amount of importance in our lives. We recall our first kisses. We kiss our children. We flirt with kisses. We sympathize with kisses. We're intimate with kisses. But what is happening psychologically when we kiss each other? Here are 4 psychological facts about kissing. Number 1, you are subconsciously analyzing a potential partner. Humans are not the only creatures that kiss. Primates do it as well. Humans have multiple uses for a kiss, whereas primates have few. However, like primates, kissing also serves as an instinctual and subconscious function. Kissing bridges the gap between our visual analysis of our potential mate and our sexual analysis of our mate. In the immortal words of Cher, if you wanna know if he loves you, it's in his kiss. Cher might not have known it when the song was written, but science actually backs up her claim. Essentially, according to Wlodarski and Dunbar, kissing helps us decide, subconsciously, whether or not our partner will make a good mate. It's not uncommon for people to complain or rejoice over the quality of their partner's kissing abilities. What they do not realize is that their brain is communicating to them that they and their partner are a good sexual match. Number 2, you're bonding with your partner. Kissing is somewhat essential to romantic relationships. Some people may require less physical attention or maybe even avoid it as a result of past trauma. But for the majority outside of these exceptional circumstances, kissing releases neuropeptides, including oxytocin and vasopressin, dopamine, and opioids, which have all been variously associated with human pair bonding. This means that kissing brings you and your partner closer. This truly shows the importance of kissing on a physical level as it affects both partners. Going a long time without kissing can have an effect on the bond between partners. Long-distance relationships and couples with a partner who travels will struggle with this often. Luckily, there are ways aside from kissing to maintain a bond between partners. If you find yourself in a relationship in which you're close to your partner often, make sure to kiss them as frequently as you can. This can go a long way in ensuring the romantic aspect of your relationship stays alive. Number 3, motives for kissing affect relationship satisfaction. Whereas kissing for goal attainment or insecurity was more present in relationships with lesser relationship satisfaction. Sexual and or relational kissing is when your motivation for kissing is influenced by passion. This can be a kiss that is sexually charged, a kiss out of love, a gentle kiss out of boredom or comfort with your partner, or a kiss that comes from sympathy. This all communicates passion to your partner. It communicates genuine love and attachment to your partner, and it should never be one-sided. One's partner should feel just as passionately to ensure a greater chance at relationship satisfaction. The other motivation is far less likely to communicate healthy love and attachment. Attainment and or insecurity kissing is when your motivation for kissing someone is influenced by a degree of desperation. Kissing for attainment would be using a kiss to soften someone enough to get your way. If you only kiss your partner when you want something or think it'll help get you out of trouble when you've done something wrong to your partner, they'll pick up on this, and it will hurt the relationship. That being said, there could be a range of factors in the relationship that would affect why one or more of the partners would learn this behavior. Attainment or insecurity kissing can also refer to kissing someone as revenge, kissing someone to boost self-esteem or reputation, or kissing someone to make someone else jealous. And number 4, kissing is like a drug. Have you ever felt like you're addicted to kissing someone? It turns out that there are numerous psychological reasons for this. We discussed the release of chemicals that promote pair bonding, but one hormone that we did not touch on was cortisol. A study by Wendy L. Hill and Carrie A. Wilson found that cortisol levels decreased, which essentially meant that kissing can de-stress you. But how did we get to the point that kisses are addictive to the human race and no other species? Author and zoologist Desmond Morris proposed that humans evolved to enjoy kissing and to release good hormones each time as a result of the way early humans would have fed. That's with mothers chewing up their food and feeding it to their young, lips to lips. This would partly explain why we feel good, especially less stressed. In Desmond Morris' proposed historical context, kissing comes as a relief from hunger and therefore safety. Today, that primal hormonal response persists as kissing gives us a sense of relief, comfort, and safety. It's no wonder that we might compare it, when we're in love, to being addicted. It provides us with such a strong relief, as if kisses from our partner are drugs. We can even look to music to see how prominent this idea is, as we can find the metaphor of love or kisses being like a drug again and again. Your Love Is My Drug by Kesha can't feel my face by the weekend, and I want a new drug by Huey Lewis in the news, to name a few examples. Kissing is fascinating in the numerous ways it affects us psychologically. We can use it to heal and to hurt. We don't always consider how powerful a kiss can be. It's interesting to consider how, as a species, we've adapted to kissing as a psychological and social tool. Did you and your partner know you were a sexual match from the first kiss? Let us know below. Do you feel like bad days are now your new normal? Well, truth is, bad days are often caused by our own built-up bad habits or an underlying, maybe unconscious belief that if it starts bad, it's going to just get worse. That means you usually have the power to not have a bad day. It's all about setting the stage for it to happen. Here are some quick tips that are good habits to cultivate. You may even find that some bad habits are only bad because of the way they've been handled so far. So here are a few habits to help you make your day better. Number 1, remembering to be grateful. This isn't momentarily saying, okay, this in my life is good, that in my life is good. It's a brain exercise. A brain exercise? Yeah, you're training your brain to see the good and the beauty of life as part of its norm, instead of living in a blanket of problems and negativity. The when you do this is up to you. Doing it at the start of your day means you set the day up for a positive outlook. Doing it before bed helps to unload heaviness and exhaustive stress thoughts. Number 2, change your scenery. Buy a plane ticket? Not necessarily. A walk in the park works too. Visiting a new place once in a while can help stimulate your mind, giving you that recharge so you can continue doing work in a healthy headspace. Number 3, do one thing at a time. We know it sounds more efficient if you can do everything all at once. Unfortunately, human cloning isn't a thing because that's the only way all at once would really work. Partially doing a whole bunch of little things will leave you with a whole bunch of unfinished things that are hastily wrapped up because you're now overwhelmed. You're a quality person, and when you do one thing at a time, that quality shines through. If it's a massive project, break it up into itty-bitty parts that you complete one at a time in entirety. Each small completion is a win. 50 wins and a quality result versus one sort of win with a mediocre result? Which one sounds better? Number 4, laugh. Laughter is, as they say, the best medicine. It activates the release of some feel-good hormones and spreads joy to others. It helps break tension and lighten negative feelings. Your day is going to be better if you and the people in your life are happier. Number 5, help someone. This one has a double positive. Firstly, helping others is the way humans usually function happiest. We feel accomplished, useful, even valuable. Helping someone exercises our empathy and compassion, allowing us to expand our perspective and subsequently allowing us to like ourselves more. Secondly, in helping another person, you're helping to problem solve. And this in turn could give you the knowledge and inspiration on how to deal with an issue in your own life. Number 6, prepare the night before. If we're honest with ourselves, sometimes that bad day happens because we didn't prep the night before. We know when it's late and you just want to sleep, it's easy to convince yourself, I can totally quickly do that thing in the morning. And we know how that works out. Morning arrives, your half-asleep brain and body won't do the thing, and now you're stressed, frazzled, and feeling insecure. So just give an honest little rebuttal to the voice that's telling you I can do this in the morning, and take at least a few minutes to do some prep for the next day. When you wake up and it's all ready to go, you'll already be doing gratitude practice. Number 7, hype yourself up. Yes, we're telling you to buy into your own hype. It may not work for everyone, but it's worth a try. Before a big event or performance, even going to a gathering you're nervous about, you can buy into your own hype for just that amount of time. That booster shot of extra self-belief, even though temporary, could be what makes the big deal event go that much smoother, which in turn can make the day, the week, your life that much better. Saying or writing down affirmations every day can help with this, and gradually, with increased self-belief, confidence will naturally flow. Number 8, relaxation. Yep, we said it, relax. Okay, we know that sounds super vague. I don't know how to relax, you say. Not to worry, we're not gonna leave you hanging. To practice relaxing, as odd as that sounds, create a relax and de-stress routine. This can be as simple as reading a good book, taking a warm bath, and listening to calming music. This will allow you to focus on each step and really do the relaxing, detaching, and unwinding. This means too that the hamster wheel of worry is no longer interrupting your sleep, and better sleep means better mood. Number 9, take your time. We all wanna do things quickly to get to the next thing and then to the next. But we forget that sometimes the best thing you can do is take your time to enjoy what you're doing at the moment. Taking your time ensures that you do a good job on your project, that you focus on it, and that you learn how to be in the present moment. Bonus, this is a sort of gratitude practice, allowing you to get the best out of every second and be present in the moment. Although the media would like to have us believe that if we buy that product, our lives will be better. In truth, it's the little things that only we can do for ourselves that make the biggest difference. These tips are by no means exhaustive, but we hope we've given you an idea of things to try, or maybe inspired you to look up other happy habits to learn. Which of these happy habits have you tried or have worked for you? Any other habits you'd like to suggest? Please feel free to comment, discuss, and spread the joy. We also strongly believe clicking the like button will contribute to a better day. Thanks for watching and see you soon.
You know what's even better than just being in a relationship? It's being in a relationship and knowing where it's going. It's understood that the hashtag relationship goals posts aren't the full picture and that the intensity of the initial infatuation levels out over time. But how do you know if you're not just leveling out, but slowly making your way to the exit? Do you work even harder on the relationship? Or are the signs motioning you towards the solo fly zone? We won't tell you what to do, and only you can decide for yourself when enough is enough. However, here are some signs that, when frequent, could mean it's time to make a relationship status change. Number 1, what is the problem? No one can agree. To work on an issue together, no matter the method, you first have to all agree on what it is, so you're both working on the same thing. If one partner believes the other is the source of all problems, and the other thinks that it's the dirty dishes causing the fights, frustration will skyrocket when each party tries to solve a different problem. Common ground is required to make real change. Each party making half-baked potatoes does not a meal make. Number 2, you would rather spend time anywhere else but with them. Calm down, we get it. The pandemic forced us all into constant close quarters for way longer than any of us planned. Needing to have a couple of hours of alone time here and there is totally normal and healthy. We're so not discouraging that. What is a sign of this might be the end, though, is when the feeling of wanting to be away is constant. It may be to the point where you might try actively finding other things to do, either alone or with other people, solely to not spend time with your partner. Number 3, you're getting serious cold feet about the future. Let's whip out our crystal ball and just kidding. None of us know the future. All we can do is plan smartly for it and have some contingency plans if things make a detour. So when you're looking ahead, but realize that either your partner doesn't fit anywhere in that picture, even if you really want them to, or if you feel deeply uneasy about it, don't ignore it. This could be a chance to look at things as a whole and objectively figure out why you feel this way. Number 4, you're both firmly growing in different directions. Change is good, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. A mark of growth is change. However, that doesn't mean we grow the same way. This isn't good or bad, just different. Depending on your needs, you may choose to get out the gardening gear and work on growing together, adjusting to each other's changes. Sometimes though, the paths are wildly different, or one partner is rigidly fixated on their path, so growing together isn't reasonable or possible. This might be a sign to flourish somewhere else. Number 5, you see only their flaws. Love is blind, and isn't that true in the beginning? We tend to ignore all the flaws at first. Over time, sure, we see some and accept them, along with their positive traits. Should the way you view them now be the complete opposite of the beginning and all their flaws override everything else that may be good about them, maybe things are starting to derail. When you're not only noticing mostly their flaws, but are outwardly complaining about them to your friends all the time, to the point where they might start asking, why are you even with them? That could well be a sign that calling it quits could be healthy for both of you. Number 6, the prospect of another partner seems more appealing. Don't worry too much about that cute bartender you saw or the attractive coworker you noticed is attractive. We're still human, and just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you suddenly don't know what good looking is. Do note if while thinking about someone else, you're also entertaining leaving your partner for them. If the notice undermines the connection with your partner, this could be a sign that the connection is weakened and may be on the verge of breaking. Number 7, your arguments are escalating. Disagreements can be healthy, helping us to learn more about each other. If they become discussions with solutions, that is. What's not healthy? Arguments that are constant, petty, and have no solution. Maybe the argument was never meant to have a solution and you're both just hurling anger at each other like supercharged fireballs, the only intent being to hurt the other person. So don't throw in the towel if there's a fight, but it isn't a bad idea to assess what exactly is the goal of this fight. If it's simply for mutual destruction, the relationship may well be over. Relationships can be hard. We know nothing truly good ever came easy. So it's understandable that sometimes we give more time, thought, and patience to our partners than we would to others. Even so, it's always good to know your own boundaries so you can see when it's healthier to walk than to stay. Did you recognize any of these situations? Are you noticing something in yourself or others? Please discuss and comment. We'd love to hear from you. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. For many, intelligence is a high-standing aspect of the one who possesses it. In some cases, they're expected to achieve greatness. While it may seem that intelligent people have it better, due to their intelligence, awareness, and the pressure of the outside world, there are a few areas where they might struggle. Even with their high intelligence, they are still people who struggle sometimes just like everyone else. Keep watching to find out the difficulties intelligent people struggle with on a daily basis. Number 1. Mental and emotional disorders. A 2011 study published in the Frontiers in Evolutionary Neuroscience found a correlation between general anxiety and high IQs. The cause? They posited that individuals with higher IQs had lower concentrations of choline in their white matter. Choline is a compound that helps produce a neurotransmitter, acetylcholine, which helps regulate your mood. Additionally, a study conducted by Ruth Karpinski of Fitzer College and her colleagues showed that intelligent individuals are at higher risk for psychological and physiological overexcitabilities. Her findings showed that out of the group of people they studied, 47% suffered from mental illnesses. This study looked into a high IQ society called Mensa that only accepts people with IQs of 132 or higher. This information was included in an Origins article. Origins is a care provider that focuses on addiction, mental illness, and others. They dove into what the Mensa study might say about the possible causes and reasons why people with high IQs have a high probability of developing mental illnesses. Some possible reasons described are overexcitability, intelligence genes causing mental illness, social isolation, and that intelligent people are more likely to get mental help. According to Origins, overexcitability can turn into overanalyzation, worry, and rumination that will eventually turn into anxiety or depression. Normally, people with higher IQs are ostracized or pushed to the fringes of society due to the society not being able to understand them. This isolation in turn can cause depression. Finally, due to their high IQs, intelligent people are more self-aware and can know when there's something wrong with them quicker than normal people. Because of this self-awareness, they're more likely to seek medical and mental health to get diagnosed, more so than others. Number 2, stress. While intelligent people have the ability to synthesize information and understand complex information, they're just as sensitive to stress as many of us. Perhaps even more so than the average person. As mentioned in the previous point, highly intelligent individuals have a reduced concentration of choline in their white matter. Due to the reduced production of acetylcholine, many higher intelligent people are sensitive to stress. Acetylcholine is an important neurotransmitter that regulates your stress. Without enough choline, people can develop anxiety, chronic stress, or depression. Neither of the three are conducive to good brain function or a happy life. If you also take into account the social pressure and scrutiny intelligent individuals are placed under, life for a highly intelligent person may not be as fantastic as you might think. Luckily, choline is found in foods you may already consume: fish, poultry, eggs, and nuts. Number 3, social burden. When you picture a highly intelligent person, you probably picture a Nobel Prize winner or a successful CEO. Unconsciously, we hold these individuals to certain standards. But intelligence does not automatically indicate success. Aware of the expectation of others in society, highly intelligent individuals might feel pressured or place undue pressure on themselves. They might take on more than they can handle, which eventually leads to burnout. They may also try to do big things quickly, meaning they pay no attention to the small steps they need to take in order to make those big things happen, which can lead to them failing. Marty Nemko, PhD, a personal coach and educational psychologist, wrote in a Psychology Today blog about how intelligent people are perceived in terms of expectations. They're expected to always be intelligent, said Nemko. But even smart people aren't always on. And then, like anyone else, they're more mistake prone. But they and others are particularly hard on themselves because of the disparity between their usual functioning and their error. Nemko continued, intelligent people are expected to make a big difference in the world. Lest they choose a less ambitious career, they're often denigrated as not living up to their potential. Number 4, negative impressions. Due to their intelligence and the way they express themselves, intelligent people may come off as full of themselves, arrogant, or know-it-alls. Most people don't like it when they feel as if others are trying to flaunt their intelligence because it makes them feel inadequate. Although not all intelligent people flaunt their high IQs. Instead, they like to talk about what they know and try to help others. Having a high IQ doesn't mean that you're smart at everything. Many highly intelligent people don't know how to behave socially, nor do they have emotional intelligence. This gets them into trouble sometimes, as they may say or do things unintentionally that confuse or hurt other people. And number 5, self-esteem tied to their intelligence. Another negative side to being intelligent is that due to the outer and inner pressure, many intelligent people end up tying their self-esteem, self-worth, and identity to their intelligence and ability to always do things perfectly. In his blog, Nemko explains that due to intelligent people being aware of their own intelligence and how highly regarded it is by others, they tend to get wrapped up in it and only depend on themselves. So they tend to rely too much on their own judgment, Nemko stated. No matter how intelligent a person is, obtaining outside input often leads to better decisions. So they may end up making worse decisions than do somewhat less intelligent people who are aware of their limitations. Most intelligent people's careers and self-esteem are tied to their intelligence, Nemko said. Aging's inevitable cognitive decline tends to especially hurt smart people, practically and psychologically. If you are considered to be one of these highly intelligent people, remember that in the end, we're all human and mistakes are part of our lives. Don't push people away due to pride or arrogance. You might need them later on. These are just a few of the difficulties that intelligent people face in their lives. To be clear, not all intelligent people are arrogant or full of themselves. Some might just seem like they are. More likely than not, they're worrying more than trying to show off. Do you agree with the difficulties mentioned here? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for more. Empaths have frequently been depicted in the media as a kind of real-life superhero. Their ability to feel what others feel means they have a very high social tolerance and a strong drive to help or save people. To top it off, compassion and affection actively flow from them, which makes narcissists their customized predators. The narcissist's voracious need to feed is bottomless. They're custom made to trap and hold on to empaths, draining them and never giving them back. The empath believes they're providing compassion like a safety blanket, when in reality, the narcissist is using that same compassion as an anchor for their hooks. Dislodging and escaping those hooks requires shattering illusions about the narcissist and revealing the faults inherent to the source of empathic behaviors. So grab a glass of water as some hard to swallow pills are being served. Doesn't taste great, but they're good for you. Number 1, narcissists will never fulfill the covert contract. Here's the hard truth. On some level, we all do things for some sort of self-benefit. A holy person fasts to reach a higher plane of consciousness. Giving to charity feels good because we're helping others. And empaths give goodness to get goodness. That's their covert contract. Never heard of that? Well, you wouldn't have, as being unspoken is the nature of the covert contract. It also fuels the hamster wheel of resentment. The contract is an implicit expectation that giving emotionally earns a return of fulfilled emotional needs. Admitting the expectation is a breach of contract, the empath perceiving themselves selfish and defective. So when they don't get their needs met, they ramp up the output, assuming they haven't earned the return, all the while silently feeling hurt, worthless, and resentful. Unspoken expectation is frustrating for anyone. With a narcissist, it's a disaster. To provide any return, you have to care about the other person, and narcissists don't. They see others as mere feeding troughs, and if a regular person is a snack, an empath is a catered all-you-can-eat buffet. To leave the wheel, the empath might need to admit their underlying beliefs, face themselves, learn that they are absolutely in their right to enforce their boundaries, and ask for what they need, while stating it kindly and respectfully, of course. Number 2, you can't save someone who doesn't want it. Empaths want to help, improve, and save people. They think, I could really help them which can work to an extent for many, but not with a narcissist. To accept help means you need assistance. Assistance is needed because there's something that needs to change. Changes are made because something could be better. If it can be better, that means it wasn't perfect before. It follows that accepting help about your behavior means accepting the idea that you could improve or change. Narcissists, by definition of their condition, believe themselves and constantly impress on others that they are idealized beings, so they don't need help. They don't need to fix what isn't broken. Lacking empathy, narcissists feel no issues in feeding off others for ego maintenance. They enjoy it. If they accepted help, they'd be double whammied. They'd have to stop feeding and they'd have to admit they need some fixing. The bitter pill is, you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. They won't fix something they don't see as broken. Solution? Take a healthy swallow of water and realize their delusion is not your problem. Number 3, emotions can't replace your brain. This is not simply a gut feeling. Gut feeling is often due to real evidence that is subconsciously picked up, but just isn't in clear detail. Empaths fall prey to emotional thinking. Emotional thinking is based completely off feeling, overriding logic, reason, and anything else presented, even if it's opposing hard, tangible evidence. This is a risk when emotions are your superpower. Sometimes they go rogue, making the person turn away from the facts. An example is when someone feels they're stupid, despite achieving average or higher than average grades or even a degree. Like any predator, narcissists sniff out the opportunity, knowing that empaths tend to choose emotion over evidence. They're set up as easy prey to fool and trap. The narcissist simply overwhelms the empath's compassion trigger. The empath, who is completely unquestioning of their emotional thinking, can disregard any and all other abuses and signs to help or care for the poor victim. Any questioning and the narcissist cranks the dial on the heartstring puller, steering the empath away from outside wisdoms or truths. To break free, the empath needs to value their mind and ask questions. They have a right to know. Number 4, narcissists are disordered and morally bankrupt. The definition of bankrupt is completely lacking in a particular quality or value. Thus, being morally bankrupt, narcissists can't be trusted to do what most people would do. Most people will have some level of predictability due to identifying with how others feel. For example, they won't lie to someone about their partner because it will hurt them or wreck their relationship. Narcissists, since they lack empathy, their emotions are centered around themselves. They feel superior and self-entitled to favorable treatment. How they choose to act depends only on personal gain, meaning they will lie to someone about their partner if it breaks them up, giving the narcissist a fresh ego-feeding supply. Unpredictability is cliffhanger-like, and it gets worse when they feel their supply pulling away or getting low. The empath gets clingier or more attentive, trying to anticipate which way the narcissist will go. Thus, the narcissist gets more attention and has reeled their supply back in. Compassionate benefit of the doubt is employed by the empath to disregard or hand-wave questionable behaviors. However, this needs to stop in order to confirm if they're being used. Questioning or calling them out cuts off their supply, threatens the narcissist's idealized image, and forces them to look at their own insecurities. They would now view the empath as useless, maybe even dangerous. They will leave them alone, and by doing this, the manipulation stops. Number 5, it's all a fantasy. It's not real. This is a twofold fantasy. On the first level, the narcissists live in their own fantasy world of overblown self-importance, where everything revolves around their idealized selves. The second level is the empaths allowing themselves to be fooled by the narcissist's fantasy. They're manipulated into focusing on saving the narcissist and believing they will receive love in return, neither which can nor will come true. The whole fantasy may be spun into a grand, tragic romance of soulmates seeking to complete each other, when in truth, it plays out more like a karmic lesson of this is exactly everything love is not. The empath has to, in order to escape, accept this disappointing truth and learn from it. Number 6, abuse means genuine love was never part of the picture. Love does not involve abuse. This isn't negotiable. Abuse means this isn't an accident or a single bad day. It's a pattern of repeated, purposeful, conscious garbage treatment over time. This also means that the fake affection can be from any type of constant interaction deemed a relationship. It could be romantic, familial, or even that coworker who does you a solid. If there is a habitual pattern of abusive or denigrating behavior, they are devoid of emotional empathy. The bitter pill here, it's one many of us non-narcissists have a hard time with, empath or not. The truth is that no matter how nice the narcissist was at the beginning of the relationship or even after a fight, they never loved their partner. This is so emotionally, psychologically unbelievable that the empath is grasping at shreds of reason, saying that surely some of it was real, or it was real before something went wrong. Hard fact is, narcissism isn't a part-time deal. The whole thing was a purposefully built illusion. Every single thing they did or said was with the cold, singular purpose of keeping the ego meal train running. Getting past this and out of the narcissist's clutches means accepting that time lost can't be retrieved or retconned into something true. They need to value their future. Stop letting it be drained and wasted by the narcissist. Their best option is to cut off the supply and walk. We understand that if you're an empath, being in a similar situation or are currently in one, those 6 truths probably felt like dry swallowing horse pills, like taking bitter medicine or waxing, though the results of partaking have long-term beneficial effects. They're also necessary truths to truly accept in order to get out of the narcissist's tar pit. Did you resonate with or recognize any of these points? Lend and share your insights in the comments. We've thrown our rope of hope, and if it helps you or others, maybe you'll swing on to the next video. Thanks for watching. Some of us shoot up at 7 a.m. without the help of an alarm clock, while others only hit the pillow at 7 a.m. So what really dictates your choice of sleep schedule? Well, the circadian rhythm of your body is responsible for regulating your sleep patterns. Genetics weighs less than half of your preference in your sleep schedule, and it's environmental, social, and personal factors that make up for the rest of your sleep schedule. According to research reported in Insider 2022, there are 6 distinct types of sleepers. Morning larks are most productive from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. afternooners being the most active from 11 to 5 p.m. Nappers wake up alert, but as the day progresses, their energy dwindles before re-energizing by mid-afternoon. Night owls tend to sleep much later. Swifts are those super robots that are alert for the whole day until they naturally fall asleep. And finally, the last type are woodcocks. Those are constantly running on 5% of their battery's capacity from the moment they wake up to bedtime. So, what does your choice of sleep schedule reveal about you? Here's a comparison of the two extremes, a morning lark and a night owl. Which one are you? Number 1, who's happier? A 2008 study published in the journal Social Indicators Research found that morning larks are often happier and have higher life satisfaction compared to their night owl counterparts. A large contributing factor to that is morning larks get better social support as they fit better into the majority of society that is most active in the daytime. Night owls, on the other hand, often have a tougher time integrating into society, partially because they may not have the best familial relationships, as they miss out on family times with their sleeping schedules. In the morning lark's workplace, they're able to be productive right from the get-go and operate easily in the standard 9 to 5 hours, and as such, morning larks tend to thrive in a corporate world. Number 2, who's smarter? According to a study published in the journal Personality and Individual Differences, night owls are often found to be more intelligent than morning larks, as opposed to the common saying, early birds get the worm. The study states, the results indicate that contrary to conventional folk wisdom, evening types are more likely to have higher intelligence scores. Night owls were also found to have better processing speed and better memory retention than morning larks. In a separate study at University of Liège in Belgium, they found that both morning larks and night owls are productive after waking up naturally, but morning larks' productivity falls off after 10.5 hours of being awake. Night owls prove to be more consistent with their focus and productivity with faster reaction time. However, night owls perform poorly academically, but night owls are at a disadvantage considering school always starts early. Number 3, who's more creative? While both early risers and late risers do experience bursts of creative ideas, studies show that early risers do not have these as much as the night owls. It could possibly be linked to morning larks usually going by a routine, in contrast to night owls who have to learn early on to be creative to adapt to their out-of-norm living style. A 2008 study on art students in Taiwan, published in the International Journal of Art and Design Education, found that more than half of the art students felt more creative after 10 p.m. Creativity strikes most when the mind wanders. Night owls are often left alone to a quiet atmosphere without the hustle and bustle of the city, allowing their minds to freely roam. So, what does your sleep schedule reveal about you? Take everything with a grain of salt. There's very little research and much needed studies on sleep, personality, and behavior. And most of us are not just a morning lark or night owl, but a mix of both. What's most important, regardless of your sleep schedule, is that you have a good cycle of light and deep sleep, and you can wake up refreshed and feeling your best. Do you feel you're a mix of the two? Or are you simply a night owl or a napper, a woodcock sleeper? Feel free to let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and share it with a friend. And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much for watching, Psych2Goers.
Is it hard for you to brush off other people's comments about you? Sometimes you may find yourself letting other people's opinions and thoughts of you dictate the way you live, whether it's done in fear of being disapproved of or to impress or satisfy the expectations placed on you. This constant worry over what others think can place a huge weight on your shoulders. So if this is something you worry about, here are 7 ways to stop caring about what others think. Number 1, showing gratitude for yourself and your accomplishments. Have you taken a moment recently to look at how far you've come? It's all too easy to get caught up in trying to impress those around you with the best grades, skills, and financial income. Maybe you feel as though you aren't earning enough money or accomplishing enough, or worry that others may look at you with shame, scorn, or even pity. According to a study posted in the Journal of Happiness, states that Showing gratitude not only to those around you, but to yourself is an effective way of enhancing your mental well-being. Think about all of the things that you've done in the past couple of years. Chances are you're not in the exact same place that you were, and that you've had to overcome some of your own personal challenges and difficulties to get where you are today. Be your own cheerleader and look inward to find validation and pride in what you do and who you are. Number 2, alone time is okay. Unplug and step away. How often do you use social media? A thorough review of multiple research papers over the years has come to the conclusion that usage of social media may help those who don't have much contact with others feel more connected. However, for others, correlations can be spotted for the opposite as well. Using social media when you're going through tough times may be making it harder for you to shake off the way you feel, as it may be constantly reminding you of how you stand compared to others. It's no doubt that when we connect with other people, we can let their opinions, successes, mindsets, and actions overpower ours. So it may be helpful to take some time alone and get away from the internet and social media from time to time. Number 3, we are all human. Nobody is Superman. Do you compare yourself to others or belittle your achievements in the face of somebody else? This is such a common occurrence that just about everybody on earth has done it. However, when you put others on a pedestal, you may end up deluding yourself from the person they really are. You might even look up to your hero so much that you end up feeling insignificant in comparison. This can be especially true when your hero is somebody you know, like a parent, boss, or a very smart friend. But it helps to remember that even if they seem to be perfect, they make mistakes too. There is no magic gift that only a handful of people get when they're born, and everyone can mess up from time to time. Remember that this person is a breathing, living human being that has made and still makes mistakes, even if you may not see them. Number 4, keeping the focus on what you want. Are you doing the things you wanna do? Every person has different perceptions, desires, hobbies, and passions that they love. Because of this, you may find yourself caring about what other people tell you that you should want. Others may try to reframe your wants or desires to fit their thoughts and feelings without fully thinking about yours. So try to be selective of the things you care about. If you spend all your time dealing with everyone's issues, you're going to worry about things that you aren't passionate about, or things that make you think, why am I doing this? Or wait, I don't like doing this thing at all. So to avoid falling into these sinkholes, spend less time worrying about every small thing and try to repaint a picture of what you truly want. Number 5, sculpt the person you are. Do you know why you feel the way you feel when someone else laughs at you? Or why do certain words, phrases, or types of personalities bother you in the way that they do? When you take the time to focus on what everyone else wants, you may forget that there's a lot about yourself that you don't know. Do you ever feel confused about your emotions? This can be a good indicator that you need to learn more about yourself to find out why you may feel nervous or scared of what others think of you. Knowing the source of this anxiety and worry may help you understand what it is you're struggling with, so you can work towards becoming better. Number 6, don't try to make everyone happy. You can't. No matter who you are, you can't make everyone happy. Personalities clash, opinions differ. And everyone is constantly changing not only how they view you, but also themselves. So while you may think that the whole world is laughing and pointing at you when you've made a mistake, this is never the case. People move on and forget. This is why it's important to make the distinction between how something makes you feel versus what actually happened. Striving to make everyone happy with your actions is truly an impossible act, one of which nobody in the world can achieve or has ever accomplished. And number 7, building your self-esteem. Are you your own worst critic? Given that we are responsible for making and learning from our experiences, we tend to put ourselves at the center of blame as a result. However, when you only criticize yourself instead of trying to learn and correct your mistakes, you run the risk of hurting and worsening your self-esteem. Having good self-esteem is important as it can help you assert your thoughts and needs and to be more realistic when making decisions. In turn, it can help pry away that seemingly compulsive need to check or analyze how and what other people think of you. When you're able to maintain a clear and wholesome image of yourself with all of your strengths and talents, You may find that other people's perceptions and opinions of you will just roll right off your back. Is this something you struggle with? At some point in another, I think we all do. Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, or share this video with someone who might benefit from it. And don't forget to hit the notification bell icon to get notified whenever Psych2Go posts a new video. The references and studies used in this video, as always, are added in the description below. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Is it hard for you to brush off other people's comments about you? Sometimes you may find yourself letting other people's opinions and thoughts of you dictate the way you live, whether it's done in fear of being disapproved of or to impress or satisfy the expectations placed on you. This constant worry over what others think can place a huge weight on your shoulders. So if this is something you worry about, here are 7 ways to stop caring about what others think. Number 1, showing gratitude for yourself and your accomplishments. Have you taken a moment recently to look at how far you've come? It's all too easy to get caught up in trying to impress those around you with the best grades, skills, and financial income. Maybe you feel as though you aren't earning enough money or accomplishing enough, or worry that others may look at you with shame, scorn, or even pity. According to a study posted in the Journal of Happiness, states that showing gratitude not only to those around you, but to yourself is an effective way of enhancing your mental well-being. Think about all of the things that you've done in the past couple of years. Chances are you're not in the exact same place that you were, and that you've had to overcome some of your own personal challenges and difficulties to get where you are today. Be your own cheerleader and look inward to find validation and pride in what you do and who you are. Number 2, alone time is okay. Unplug and step away. How often do you use social media? A thorough review of multiple research papers over the years has come to the conclusion that usage of social media may help those who don't have much contact with others feel more connected. However, for others, correlations can be spotted for the opposite as well. Using social media when you're going through tough times may be making it harder for you to shake off the way you feel, as it may be constantly reminding you of how you stand compared to others. It's no doubt that when we connect with other people, we can let their opinions, successes, mindsets, and actions overpower ours. So it may be helpful to take some time alone and get away from the internet and social media from time to time. Number 3, we are all human. Nobody is Superman. Do you compare yourself to others or belittle your achievements in the face of somebody else? This is such a common occurrence that just about everybody on earth has done it. However, when you put others on a pedestal, you may end up deluding yourself from the person they really are. You might even look up to your hero so much that you end up feeling insignificant in comparison. This can be especially true when your hero is somebody you know, like a parent, boss, or a very smart friend. But it helps to remember that even if they seem to be perfect, they make mistakes too. There is no magic gift that only a handful of people get when they're born, and everyone can mess up from time to time. Remember that this person is a breathing, living human being that has made and still makes mistakes, even if you may not see them. Number 4, keeping the focus on what you want. Are you doing the things you wanna do? Every person has different perceptions, desires, hobbies, and passions that they love. Because of this, you may find yourself caring about what other people tell you that you should want. Others may try to reframe your wants or desires to fit their thoughts and feelings without fully thinking about yours. So try to be selective of the things you care about. If you spend all your time dealing with everyone's issues, you're going to worry about things that you aren't passionate about, or things that make you think, why am I doing this? Or wait, I don't like doing this thing at all. So to avoid falling into these sinkholes, spend less time worrying about every small thing and try to repaint a picture of what you truly want. Number 5, sculpt the person you are. Do you know why you feel the way you feel when someone else laughs at you? Or why do certain words, phrases, or types of personalities bother you in the way that they do? When you take the time to focus on what everyone else wants, you may forget that there's a lot about yourself that you don't know. Do you ever feel confused about your emotions? This can be a good indicator that you need to learn more about yourself to find out why you may feel nervous or scared of what others think of you. Knowing the source of this anxiety and worry may help you understand what it is you're struggling with. so you can work towards becoming better. Number 6, don't try to make everyone happy. You can't. No matter who you are, you can't make everyone happy. Personalities clash, opinions differ, and everyone is constantly changing not only how they view you, but also themselves. So while you may think that the whole world is laughing and pointing at you when you've made a mistake, this is never the case. People move on and forget. This is why it's important to make the distinction between how something makes you feel versus what actually happened. Striving to make everyone happy with your actions is truly an impossible act, one of which nobody in the world can achieve or has ever accomplished. And number 7, building your self-esteem. Are you your own worst critic? Given that we are responsible for making and learning from our experiences, we tend to put ourselves at the center of blame as a result. However, when you only criticize yourself instead of trying to learn and correct your mistakes, you run the risk of hurting and worsening your self-esteem. Having good self-esteem is important as it can help you assert your thoughts and needs and to be more realistic when making decisions. In turn, it can help pry away that seemingly compulsive need to check or analyze how and what other people think of you. When you're able to maintain a clear and wholesome image of yourself with all of your strengths and talents, you may find that other people's perceptions and opinions of you will just roll right off your back. Is this something you struggle with? At some point in another, I think we all do. Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, or share this video with someone who might benefit from it. And don't forget to hit the notification bell icon to get notified whenever Psych2Go posts a new video. The references and studies used in this video, as always, are added in the description below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.
Are you starting to catch feelings for your friend? How can you tell where it's gonna lead? Friendships can be complicated, especially when there is potential for them to develop into something more. They say all the best relationships started off as friendships, but sometimes you just can't bring yourself to admit it. Your fear of losing them holds you back. To help you self-reflect and bring a little more clarity to this topic, here are 5 hints that your friendship is becoming romantic. Number 1, you notice changes in body language. If they sit up straighter or cross their legs, do you also do the same without realizing it? Do you prefer to stay closer to each other when you hang out in a group? If you pay attention, you might pick up on changes in your friend's body language indicating that they are attracted to you. You and your friend might make more eye contact. Even if it's unintentional, you might start to notice these cues in your movements too. Some of these indicators might be cliche, like playing with your hair when they're around, but more subtle signs include fidgeting and subconsciously copying movements. Number 2, you get jealous of each other's past or potential partners. Do you smell something in the air? Jealousy is an obvious sign that feelings are developing. Before your friendship started to feel like it could be something more, you didn't care much about their exes or who they had a crush on. But now, when these topics come up, you're envious of the other person involved. You used to talk about your love life freely with your friend, but now you find things can get a little tense and uncomfortable around this subject. Ugh. Number 3, you're more nervous around each other than usual. Did you just spend the whole morning deciding what to wear because you two are gonna hang out in the afternoon? Seems fishy. At the beginning of your friendship, you felt no different around them than you do around the rest of your friends, but now it's a whole different story. You tend to put more thought into how you act when you're around them. You pay close attention to your appearance and demeanor when they're around. And the bonus point is you notice them doing the same as well. If you two suddenly start acting differently around each other, it could be a hint that your dynamic is shifting from friendship to romance. Cue the rose petals falling from above. Number 4, your friends are starting to notice. When out with a group of friends, do people ever assume that you're a couple? Have your mutual friends started to tease you about having feelings for each other? If so, chances are they can sense that you both want to be more than just friends. After all, it is rumored that a friend can tell you things you don't want to tell yourself. Do you agree? When your chemistry is so strong that it's clear to others, that's a sign you might be going from friends to lovers. Instead of only paying attention to how things are when you hang out one-on-one, take notes on what happens when you're in a group setting too. And number 5, your conversations are deeper and more frequent. Do you find yourself talking to them a lot more often than with your other friends? Every friendship is different. Some people talk daily while others catch up every once in a while. Think back to the last few conversations you had with them. Are you having more heart-to-hearts than usual? Do you talk about deeper and more emotional topics? This is another hint that your friendship is changing. If feelings are developing, they might also start to take more of an interest in the things you like and vice versa. Cue the violins. Whether your friendship turns into something more or stays as it is, it's important to remember every relationship is an opportunity for learning and evolving. These tips might help you consider the communication in your friendship and changes to look out for in the future. Are there any other signs we missed? Let us know in the comments below. As always, keep an eye on Psy for more Psych2Go content. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button and share it with others out there who could benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe to Psych2Go and hit the notification bell for more new videos. Thanks so much for watching. While depression has become the leading cause of disability all over the globe, making it the most common mental illness in the world according to a 2021 fact sheet from the World Health Organization, there's still so much we're yet to understand about it. After all, there's a good reason why psychologists often refer to it as the illness with 1,000 faces. Depression can manifest in a wide variety of symptoms, and its presentation can differ greatly from one person to another. It's also been known to affect people of all ages, genders, cultures, and economic backgrounds. So even the wealthiest, most successful, and most popular people in the world who seem like they already have everything a person could ever want out of life aren't exempt from it. Case in point, plenty of celebrities have spoken out about their experiences with depression and, more importantly, about what helps them get through it. And what they all have to say are all perfect examples of how we can live a full and experientially rich life while still battling depression. With that said, here are 5 signs you might be depressed, but don't let it get you down, as told by some of the most famous people in the world. Number 1, don't be guilty. Ariana Grande. Global pop sensation and 2-time Grammy Award winner, Ariana Grande, has recently taken to social media to publicly express her support of Mental Health Awareness Month last May, as well as her own struggles with depression. Here's to ending the stigma around mental health and normalizing asking for help. The Billboard chart topper captioned in an Instagram post, "Healing isn't linear, fun, quick, or at all easy, but we are here, and we've got to commit to making this time as healthy, peaceful, and beautiful as possible. The work is so hard, but we're capable and worth it." Grande, who has also previously gone on record to discuss her PTSD following the May 2017 Manchester bombing at one of her concerts, as well as the depression she experienced following the suicide of close friend and longtime on and off again boyfriend, Mac Miller. She even donated $1 million worth of therapy to her fans in partnership with BetterHelp, an online mental health platform that provides web-based counseling and therapy services. So if you, much like Ariana Grande, suspect that you might be depressed but don't let it get you down, you try your best not to feel guilty about it because you understand that mental illness is real and that it's not something we choose to have. Number 2, I recommend getting help when you need it. Kirsten Dunst. Another famous face you might not realize is also a mental health warrior is 40-year-old actress Kirsten Dunst, best known for her role as Mary Jane Watson in the original Spider-Man trilogy. Dunst has actually been in the Hollywood scene since she was only 11 years old, when she starred in Interview with the Vampire alongside Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. She's since then spoken on many occasions about the mental and emotional toll the dark side of stardom has taken on her, and admitted that when she was in her 20s, she entered a rehab center to seek help for her depression. All I'll say is that medication is a great thing and can really help you come out of something, Dunst said. "I was afraid to take something, and so I sat in it for too long. I would recommend getting help when you need it." Thankfully, the acting veteran seems to be doing a lot better now, happily married with 2 children. Dunst continued acting in a number of critically acclaimed films and TV shows. And if you've taken her advice and have sought help, be it professionally or from friends and family, for your mental health struggles, then keep fighting. Reaching out to others is definitely one of the best things you can do for yourself in that situation. Number 3, the key is to not be afraid to open up. Dwayne Johnson. Next on our list is none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who as of this year has become the highest paid actor currently working today, earning over $270 million in 2022 alone. You probably know him for his roles in the Fast and Furious franchise, Jumanji, and Red Notice. But perhaps most admirable of all, Dwayne Johnson reveals how he beat years of depression following his mother's suicide attempt back when he was only 15 years old, which he thankfully was able to save her from. "Struggle and pain is real. I was devastated and depressed," Johnson said in an interview with the Daily Express. I reached a point where I didn't want to do anything or go anywhere. I was crying constantly. He later took to Twitter to say, "Took me a long time to realize it, but the key is to not be afraid to open up. Especially us dudes who have a tendency to keep it in. You're not alone." Similar to our earlier point, we hope that in spite of your feelings of depression, you remember that you're never alone, and you don't have to battle depression all on your own either. After all, depression is much more common than most people think, and speaking up about it can help not only you, but also those around you who may be suffering in silence and need to find comfort in someone who understands what they're going through. Number 4, life is too beautiful. Jim Carrey. Another name on this list that might surprise you, 60-year-old comedian and actor Jim Carrey has also spoken up in interviews about his longtime battle against depression. The funny man who starred in The Mask, Ace Ventura, The Grinch, and so many more lovably zany comedies is truly one of life's greatest ironies that someone like Jim Carrey, who has brought so much joy and laughter to millions of people all over the world, would be struggling with his mental health behind closed doors for years. Still, he remains an inspiration to us all, in spite of his dark days. Carrey recently went on record to say, "At this point, I don't have depression. I had that for years, but now when the rain comes, it rains. But it doesn't stay. It doesn't stay long enough to immerse me and drown me anymore." He also preached a heartfelt message about how life is too beautiful to escape using alcohol or drugs, and that we should think of the word depressed as deep rest. Your body needs to be depressed. It needs deep rest from the character that you've been trying to play. And number 5, feel whatever it is you're feeling. Michelle Obama. Last and obviously not least, if you're someone who, in spite of their depression, doesn't let it get you down, then you'll definitely relate to Michelle Obama's quote about allowing yourself to feel whatever it is you're feeling. The former First Lady revealed back in August 2020 that she had been dealing with a case of low-grade depression in the aftermath of not only the isolation brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, but also the racial tensions and political unrest in the United States. "I'm waking up in the middle of the night because I'm worrying about something, or there's a heaviness," she said. The idea that what this country is going through shouldn't have any effect on us, that we all should just feel okay all the time, that just doesn't feel real to me. A longstanding advocate of mental health, Michelle Obama went on record at last 2015's Change Direction mental health campaign to say, "It's time to tell everyone who's dealing with a mental health issue that they're not alone, and that getting support and treatment isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength." So, did anyone on this list surprise you? Do you relate to what some of these famous personalities have to say about their experiences with mental health? At first glance, it's easy to think that the people who seem to have it all have no reason to be depressed, but depression isn't a choice, and it can happen for no good reason. There doesn't have to be a reason. In that regard, celebrities aren't much different from you or me. We're all just doing our best day by day to keep moving forward in life, no matter the difficulties we face, and trying to find happiness amidst our struggles. The celebrities listed here are only a handful of the brave souls who have spoken out about their battles with depression and how they continue to survive and even thrive in spite of it. And by openly talking about their mental health, they're raising awareness on the importance of seeking help and finding love, growth, clarity, and freedom no matter the negative circumstances we may find ourselves in. So what are some of the ways you keep your depression from really getting you down? We'd love to hear all about it in the comments below.
Are you an anxious person? Does the word anxiety fill you with immediate dread? According to Merriam-Webster, anxiety is classified as apprehensive uneasiness or nervousness, usually over an impending or anticipated ill. While the word describes a general feeling of uneasiness, the experience of anxiety may be different for everyone. After all, it can manifest itself in many different forms and in varying degrees of intensity. So, to learn more about this, here are 5 stages of anxiety. Number 1, minimal anxiety. Let's start with minimal anxiety. At this stage, you're able to function with very limited interruptions. Your ability to focus on daily tasks is likely not hindered, and you'll probably feel productive for most, if not the entirety of your day. Having zero anxiety at all would definitely be optimal, of course, but with minimal levels of anxiety, you can thankfully function overall, especially since there are very few physical symptoms at this stage. Sometimes you may even not notice this anxious period, since it'll likely affect a very small part of your day. Number 2, mild anxiety. Do you find yourself feeling anxious in social situations? Are you the kind of person who shyly stands in the corner at a party? At the mild or subclinical level of anxiety, you may experience some form of muscle tension or stomach ache, but these sensations are often relatively minor. Mild anxiety may be experienced from childhood into adulthood and is considered to be at the more manageable side of the scale. This means you're likely still able to get most things done on your daily to-do list without much problem. So don't feel bad if you find it difficult to open up or engage with others. If anything, you can be proud of yourself that you got out there in the first place. Number 3, moderate anxiety. Is your sleep schedule very inconsistent? Are you struggling with a particular loss of appetite? If your anxiety is at this 3rd level, it may affect your sleep schedule to a relatively noticeable but still functional degree. This can cause you to become less hungry throughout the day or cause you to experience more frequent, aggressive headaches. Due to these factors, you may also experience a more regulated, panicky state of being, making you feel on edge a lot of the time. Number 4, severe anxiety. Do you often experience a constant tightness in your chest? Does your stomach have a really tough time digesting food? Where the moderate level isn't necessarily a daily and disruptive force, severe anxiety is a consistent feeling throughout. The physical symptoms are much more aggressive at this 4th level. For instance, you may also feel out of breath and have trouble eating food even if it's a particularly favorite meal of yours. Because of this, you may also end up avoiding friends and family, choosing to remain on your own most of the time. The severity of this level of anxiety has also proven to be connected to major depression as well. So while you can still technically function, you may barely have any energy or motivation to do so. Number 5, debilitating anxiety. Do you deal with near constant panic attacks? Are you so incapacitated by your stress that it has become a real struggle to even leave your home? Debilitating anxiety is the worst and most aggressive form of anxiety. Symptoms of this may include sweating, muscle twitching, tremors, fatigue, and insomnia, just to name a few. You may experience an extreme sense of dread at the simplest of everyday tasks, and because of it, avoid ever leaving your safe space. But while you may sometimes feel like you're all alone in how you feel, remember that you're not. There are people out there who really do care about you and your well-being. So which level do you believe that your anxiety is at? Is it at a specific spot with one of these 5 levels, or is it somewhere more in the middle between 2 different points? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with those who might benefit from it. And don't forget to hit the notification bell icon to get notified whenever Psych2Go posts a new video. The references and studies used in this video are added in the description below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Are you an anxious person? Does the word anxiety fill you with immediate dread? According to Merriam-Webster, anxiety is classified as apprehensive uneasiness or nervousness, usually over an impending or anticipated ill. While the word describes a general feeling of uneasiness, the experience of anxiety may be different for everyone. After all, it can manifest itself in many different forms and in varying degrees of intensity. So, to learn more about this, here are 5 stages of anxiety. Number 1, minimal anxiety. Let's start with minimal anxiety. At this stage, you're able to function with very limited interruptions. Your ability to focus on daily tasks is likely not hindered, and you'll probably feel productive for most, if not the entirety of your day. Having 0 anxiety at all would definitely be optimal, of course, but with minimal levels of anxiety, you can thankfully function overall, especially since there are very few physical symptoms at this stage. Sometimes you may even not notice this anxious period, since it'll likely affect a very small part of your day. Number 2, mild anxiety. Do you find yourself feeling anxious in social situations? Are you the kind of person who shyly stands in the corner at a party? At the mild or subclinical level of anxiety, you may experience some form of muscle tension or stomach ache, but these sensations are often relatively minor. Mild anxiety may be experienced from childhood into adulthood and is considered to be at the more manageable side of the scale. This means you're likely still able to get most things done on your daily to-do list without much problem. So don't feel bad if you find it difficult to open up or engage with others. If anything, you can be proud of yourself that you got out there in the first place. Number 3, moderate anxiety. Is your sleep schedule very inconsistent? Are you struggling with a particular loss of appetite? If your anxiety is at this 3rd level, it may affect your sleep schedule to a relatively noticeable but still functional degree. This can cause you to become less hungry throughout the day or cause you to experience more frequent, aggressive headaches. Due to these factors, you may also experience a more regulated, panicky state of being, making you feel on edge a lot of the time. Number 4, severe anxiety. Do you often experience a constant tightness in your chest? Does your stomach have a really tough time digesting food? Where the moderate level isn't necessarily a daily and disruptive force, severe anxiety is a consistent feeling throughout. The physical symptoms are much more aggressive at this 4th level. For instance, you may also feel out of breath and have trouble eating food even if it's a particularly favorite meal of yours. Because of this, you may also end up avoiding friends and family, choosing to remain on your own most of the time. The severity of this level of anxiety has also proven to be connected to major depression as well. So while you can still technically function, you may barely have any energy or motivation to do so. Number 5, debilitating anxiety. You deal with near constant panic attacks? Are you so incapacitated by your stress that it has become a real struggle to even leave your home? Debilitating anxiety is the worst and most aggressive form of anxiety. Symptoms of this may include sweating, muscle twitching, tremors, fatigue, and insomnia, just to name a few. You may experience an extreme sense of dread at the simplest of everyday tasks, and because of it, avoid ever leaving your safe space. But while you may sometimes feel like you're all alone in how you feel, remember that you're not. There are people out there who really do care about you and your well-being. So which level do you believe that your anxiety is at? Is it at a specific spot with one of these 5 levels, or is it somewhere more in the middle between 2 different points? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with those who might benefit from it. And don't forget to hit the notification bell icon to get notified whenever Psych2Go posts a new video. The references and studies used in this video are added in the description below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Hey Psych2Goers. Have you ever wondered what depression feels like? Or if you have depression, do you struggle with describing how it feels to others? What most people don't understand is that depression is much more than having a bad day or an off week. It's a mood disorder that causes constant feelings of sadness, disinterest, and emptiness. Because it affects someone mentally, physically, and socially, most people don't have a good understanding of what it feels like. So to try to describe what it's like to give you a better understanding of depression, here is how some may experience depression on a daily basis. Number 1, waking up exhausted and drained. Have you ever stayed up really late and woke up feeling awful? Imagine that, but every day. Oftentimes, regardless of how much sleep someone with depression gets, they'll wake up without any energy. This lack of energy makes it hard for them to get out of bed and do daily tasks that seem automatic to people without depression. You can think of depression as an invisible weight that brings you down everywhere you go. You may not be able to see it, but it's always there, making life harder. Number 2, feeling as if there's no joy in life. Have you ever tried to pay attention to a class you didn't enjoy at all? Time seems to go slower, and all you can do is count the minutes until it's over. People suffering from depression might feel as if there's no joy or pleasure in their life at all, making them uninterested in everything, in everyday life. Everyone has a hard time concentrating on things they don't enjoy, such as homework or chores. But what happens when someone doesn't enjoy life in general? Likely, they'll become unresponsive and unfocused on the world around them. So far, do you relate to these 2 points? Psych2Go is about encouraging people to open up about their struggles. Comment below your story if you relate to this, and we'll highlight the most impactful one in a future video. Your story helps others. Number 3, low self-esteem. Do you compare yourself to all the models and influencers on social media? People with depression often do the same, but on a much larger scale. It goes much deeper than thinking that their body isn't picture perfect. Instead, they'll relate it to thinking that they're a failure as a person, family member, friend, and everything else. They may see everyone around them living happily and think it's their fault that they're struggling. Of course, that isn't the case, since depression is no one's fault. But just like trying to stop comparing yourself to social media, trying to stop thinking you're a failure is extremely difficult. Number 4, complicated relationship with food. Do you ever eat because you feel sad, bored, or lonely, even though you're not hungry? Much like eating to pass time, people suffering from depression may use food as a coping mechanism. They could overeat to distract themselves from how they feel or to avoid feeling numb. Or, on the other hand, some with depression may also undereat. They may feel too numb or uninterested to the point where they see all food to be unappetizing. In cases like this, it's important you avoid phrases like, "You should be grateful you have the option to eat," or "You're taking what you have for granted." Instead, you might wanna listen to why they're not eating healthily and try to keep in mind that it's not something that can be fixed overnight. Number 5, everything feels hopeless. Do you ever feel like things will never get better? Whether pandemic related or not, everyone can think of a time where they felt helpless and hopeless. But people with depression feel hopeless, not just about the state of the world, but about themselves as well. They may think they'll never amount to everything or that they'll never learn how to cope with depression. This constant state of hopelessness can lead to them feeling exhausted and unmotivated all the time. Number 6, unhealthy sleeping patterns. Ever had trouble sleeping? Maybe you were tossing and turning because you were nervous about a job interview in the morning. Many people with depression struggle with this every night. Depression is sometimes linked to other struggles such as insomnia and anxiety, both of which make sleeping even harder. On the other hand, someone with depression could also sleep too much as well, since they may see it as an escape from their daily struggles. Either way, having a healthy sleeping pattern is important for your mind and body, and without one, you're more likely to feel exhausted, irritable, and stressed. And number 7, physical pain. Imagine the worst headache you've ever had. Now imagine getting that around once every 2 weeks. While many people think mental and physical health are completely separate, they actually overlap in many ways. For example, people with depression are more prone to body aches, headaches, nausea, and muscle tension. So while you may have trouble understanding the complex thoughts and feelings people with depression have, you may be more able to empathize with them knowing what physical pain is like. So, did our video help you better understand what depression feels like? If you haven't yet commented your story, we encourage you to either 1, try now to help someone else who's in your shoes, or 2, share this video with someone who might need it. Thanks so much for watching, take care, and see you soon.
How can you be sure it's love? Is it getting butterflies in your belly just at the sight of them? Or is it the rosy tint of your cheeks that gives it away? Despite what the movies show, often there is no bird landing on your shoulder as you sing for your one and only. The experience of falling in love can be different for everyone. Others keep saying, you'll just know if it's the right one, but that ain't helping any. The good news is some scientifically backed signs can help tell you if you're likely falling in love. Let's take a look at 10 signs you're falling in love, even if you don't think so. Number 1, you find yourself thinking about them. Do you think of them every time your phone buzzes? Are they the last person you think of before you go to bed? When you are falling in love with someone, you may find it impossible to get them out of your head. Your brain releases phenylethylamine, also known as the love drug. This hormone facilitates the feeling of being in love with someone. Commonly found in some chocolates, which may explain why we're so tempted to keep eating them, even when we know that excess consumption of chocolate is not good for us. Number 2, you're suddenly open to exploring new things. Did you just eat sushi for the first time, even though 3 years back you swore you would never eat it? Are you starting to bend your own rules just a little bit to let someone else in? When you're beginning to fall in love with someone, you want to make them feel equally impressed by you. As a result, you find yourself constantly trying out new things that you would have never tried before. If you're now open to new adventures because of your partner, chances are you may have got the love bug. Number 3, they've made their way to your priority list. Where do they stand on your priority ranking? The usual priority list for most people reads family, friends, work, etc. However, if someone has debuted on the top 5 in your priority list, all of a sudden, it may be a sign that you're falling in love with them. Priority lists help you compartmentalize your life and focus on the people and the things that you love. You might be falling in love if you're reordering, rearranging, and rethinking your life. Number 4, you suddenly find their quirks extremely attractive. Crying during commercials, sleeping with the lights on. Suddenly, all these quirks that initially made you question your significant other's choices are now extremely attractive to you. Slowly but surely, you find yourself understanding and appreciating their quirks. You begin to find them irresistible in every way. That includes their quirks, peculiar sense of humor, and their unusual way of doing things. If all this is true for you, you've likely started your trip down the love lane. Number 5, they boost your self-image. Have you miraculously started to love the way you look in skinny jeans? Have you started singing throughout your apartment instead of limiting it to your solo shower performances? People who are falling in love with someone often find that it has helped them fall in love with themselves too. When you fall in love, you typically experience self-expansion, which means your sense of self expands as a result of this new relationship. Number 6, their traits become your traits. Did you go from being a denim lover to a plaid lover when they introduced you to the comfortable world of flannels and sweatpants? Are you now more interested in historical museums and art displays over some of your weekly sporting activities? As a couple learns to know one another, their individual self-perceptions begin to blend. You experience genuine pleasure in your partner's accomplishments. Often, you can mistake your partner's attributes for your own as a result of the self-other overlap, where you begin to regard yourself as more and more like your partner. Number 7, your friends are noticing. Are you slowly starting to bring them around for your monthly movie nights with your friends? Are your friends starting to tease you by their name or commenting on your relationship with them? Well, your friends can probably see something that you don't. Talk to your friends and weigh their thoughts and opinions on your relationship with your significant other. You might be surprised by the lovely things they have to say. Number 8, you feel positive about the future. Do you no longer get worked up about meeting project deadlines as you did before you met them? Do your 5-year goals suddenly seem doable? Love has the ability to elevate you. It nourishes your need to be where you belong and to put things right. All your worries about the future can be put on hold when you fall in love. If your distant future plans seem not so distant with them by your side, the love spell has done its trick. Number 9, you can't stop smiling. Whether it's rolling on the floor and laughing over a meme they sent you or simply remembering the last conversation you had with them, you just can't stop smiling these days, right? When you're falling in love, your brain releases large amounts of the happy hormone dopamine. You may feel an eagerness and an inability to stop smiling. The increase in dopamine levels causes these physiological effects. A feedback loop can be established by smiling. You smile more when you're happy, and the more you smile, the happier you are. And number 10, you feel more love for others. You and your partner may not be the only ones who are feeling the effects of this newfound love, thanks to the hormone oxytocin, more commonly known as the love hormone. You feel more open and more connected to others. A 2012 study shows that people experiencing romantic attachment had higher levels of oxytocin, persisting for at least 6 months. It helps improve self-perception in social situations and increases personality traits such as warmth, trust, altruism, and openness. Research states that the hormone's impact on pro-social behaviors and reward centers in the brain improve emotional, cognitive, and social behaviors. You may start to leave bigger tips, exchange positive words with strangers, and hold no grudges. Do you know someone in your life who's exhibited any of the signs mentioned here? Or on the flip side, have you exhibited any of them? Feel free to leave a comment with your experience, feedback, or suggestions. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button and share it with others too. Don't forget to subscribe to Psych2Go and hit the notification bell for more new videos. Thanks for watching. Do you believe in the idea that we are ultimately in charge of our own happiness and that happiness is always a choice? Throughout history, there have been plenty of great examples of individuals who have found happiness in spite of even the most dire of circumstances. People like Anne Frank and Malala Yousafzai. They've become symbols of the bountiful resilience, hope, optimism, and fighting spirit that we all have inside of us. Perhaps one of the most moving of all is the life of Eva Moses Kor, a Romanian-born American Holocaust survivor. Eva and her twin sister Miriam were subjected to cruel human experimentation at the Auschwitz concentration camp during World War II. And yet, in spite of all of those years that she suffered at the hands of the Nazis, Eva dedicated most of her later life trying to locate other survivors of the experiments and founded a humanitarian organization that vowed not only to tell the story of these victims, but to preach values of love, peace, and forgiveness above all else. But if these stories are anything to go by, then why aren't more people happy? And why does it seem so hard for the rest of us? Well, psychology tells us that it's not actually that simple, and that there's a lot more to happiness than we think. In fact, some people can even fear happiness and become addicted to sadness instead. So with that said, here are 6 psychology-backed reasons why you might be addicted to sadness. Number 1, learned helplessness. A concept first studied by psychologist Martin Seligman, learned helplessness is defined as a sense of powerlessness, often arising from a traumatic event or persistent failure to succeed, that tends to develop into depressive and self-destructive behavioral patterns and tendencies. Simply put, learned helplessness is what happens when you've been chronically abused and traumatized to the point where you no longer believe it possible that things will ever get better. Tragedy and suffering have played such a large role in your life for so long, you start to think there's nothing you can do to change things for the better anymore. And you become resigned, hopeless, and addicted to sadness. Number 2, positive reinforcement. Another reason why we may become addicted to sadness is if it is positively reinforced in us. Positive reinforcement happens when a desirable stimulus reinforces a certain behavior in us, making it more likely to reoccur. Simply put, when we are rewarded and enabled for our sadness, it's all too easy to become addicted to it and get stuck in our ways. An example would be if constantly playing the victim and needing to be saved from your own sadness is the only way you've learned how to get close to others and gain the care and attention of your loved ones. Number 3, choice theory. Pioneered by world-renowned psychotherapist William Glasser, choice theory, in a nutshell, posits that we are all responsible for what we choose to do, and that we're much more in control of our lives than we realize. In fact, Glasser once famously said that we choose everything we do, including the misery we feel. So, according to choice theory, you might be addicted to sadness because you are, be it knowingly or unknowingly, choosing to punish yourself with these feelings. So think long and hard. Is there anything you feel guilty about in your life that might cultivate such feelings of self-loathing? Number 4, unhealed trauma. Similar to the last point, trauma can often lead to an unconscious desire for unhappiness in our lives, especially if left unresolved. Why? Because more often than not, those who have suffered a traumatic experience have a hard time moving on from their past and instead fall into the trap of denial, negativity, and self-sabotage. They become resistant to positive change because happiness, safety, and security just seem so scary and unfamiliar to them now. In their minds, happiness is fleeting and transient, so why bother trying to chase after it when you'll only end up disappointed? Number 5, low self-esteem. Some people also become addicted to sadness as a result of having low self-esteem. Deeply rooted insecurities and a lack of self-worth can lead them to believe that they don't deserve to be happy. They're extremely harsh and critical towards themselves and often find it difficult to overcome their own sense of self-pity. They're quick to blame themselves for everything that goes wrong in their lives, even if they have no control over it, and are often plagued by feelings of worthlessness and inadequacy. And number 6, undiagnosed mental health issues. Finally, but perhaps most importantly, a hyperfixation on one's own sadness can be a key indicator that someone is suffering from an undiagnosed mental health issue. Whether it's anxiety, depression, PTSD, borderline personality disorder, or something else entirely. People struggling with an undiagnosed mental illness will have a harder time than most regulating their emotions and overcoming feelings of sadness and distress. And the longer they go without getting the help they need, the harder it'll be for them to overcome their mental illness. That's why it's so important that if you or anyone you know is struggling with their mental health, to not hesitate to reach out to a mental health care professional right away. And if you relate to any of the things we've mentioned here and feel it applies to your situation right now, seek help and open up about it to someone you trust. The sooner you can break the habit of being addicted to your own sadness, the better your life will be. So, what's your reason for being addicted to sadness? And how do you plan to overcome it?